Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fantasy story that asks a really strange but fascinating question. You know how most fantasy tales end, right? The Dark Lord is defeated, the heroes get a parade, and that's it. Credits roll. Well, our story today picks up right there, exploring what happens after Happily Ever After.
And this, right here, is what makes Frieren completely different. In any other story, a decade-long quest to save the world from a demon king would be the entire plot, the whole shebang. But here, that's just the setup. It's literally the prologue.
Okay, so let's get into this story that starts after the end. We're meeting our heroes 50 years after their huge victory. And, well, time has definitely passed. So this was the team, the legendary party that saved the world. You had Himmel the hero, Eisen the warrior, Hyder the priest, and Frieren the mage. After a grueling 10-year journey, they took down the Demon King. To the rest of the world, these guys were icons. But here's the thing. For Frieren, the elf mage of the group, her perspective is a little different. See, she's lived for over 1,000 years. So that epic, life-changing quest that defined her friends' entire lives, to her, it was less than 1% of her existence. Just a fleeting whim.
And that massive gap in how they all experience time, that's what kicks off the real story. It leads to this profound, crushing sense of regret and a totally new quest. This is where it all really begins. 50 years after their quest, the hero, Himmel, dies of old age. For Frieren, 50 years feels like a blink of an eye, but for her human friends, that was the rest of their lives. It's at Himmel's funeral that it all just hits her. She sees her old friend, who was once so vibrant, now gone, and she just breaks down. She's absolutely shocked by her own grief. And it's in that moment she realizes, in her 1,000 years of life, she never actually tried to get to know the people she spent a whole decade fighting alongside. So what does an immortal elf even do with that kind of crushing newfound regret? Well, decades later, she decides to start a new journey, one where she retraces her steps to try and understand everything she missed the first time around. And she's not alone this time. She takes on an apprentice, Fern, who's connected to her old comrade Hyder. And later they meet Stark, a young warrior who was a student of their other friend, Eisen. So a new party forms, following in the exact footsteps of the old one. And their destination? It's a place of pure legend, Oriol, a mythical land where souls are said to rest. Frieren's goal is incredibly simple, but so powerful. She hopes that if she can make it there, she can speak to Himmel's spirit one last time and finally say all the things she never did. So this entire journey is really built on 3 big ideas. First, you've got the perception of time, right? We see Frieren constantly flashing back to her first journey, but now seeing it all through a new, more human perspective. Then there's this idea of magic as a hobby. She loves collecting these small, kind of useless spells, not for power, but because they connect her to people and their memories. And finally, there's legacy. Himmel is long gone, but his memory, and the statues he had built, literally guide Frieren's path decades later. On this new adventure, Frieren's whole understanding of, well, everything, the world, magic, and especially her own past, starts to change in a really fundamental way. First off, we have to talk about the demons in this world. Now, these are not your typical monsters. They're intelligent, they're cunning, and they've perfected human language for a single reason: to trick us, to hunt us, and to kill us. You can't reason with them. They are pure predators. And it's here that we discover a whole other side to our quiet, sometimes clumsy Frieren. Because to the demons, she's not just some elf mage. She has a title. They call her Frieren the Slayer, and she is one of the most feared demon killers in all of history. Yeah, she's spent centuries getting this deadly technique down to an art. She hides her massive magical power, making herself look like a weak, easy target. She lures the demon in, lets it get cocky, and by the time it realizes its mistake, it is way, way too late. Her journey keeps forcing her to confront new ideas. Like, she has to take this first-class mage exam, which isn't just about raw power. It's a test of magical philosophy. It makes her actually think about why she even uses magic. She runs into this crazy powerful demon named Macht, which makes her question if it's even possible for a demon to understand human feelings.
Every step on this long road, especially towards the dangerous northern plateau, pushes her to grow.
So when you strip it all away, this entire epic journey is really about one thing. It's about rewiring the brain of an immortal being to understand the value of a single fleeting moment.
I mean, just think about where we started, right? She saw a decade-long world-saving adventure as nothing, a blip, a whim. But now she's starting to get it. She's learning to actually cherish the small moments she used to just let fly by. Getting a gift, looking for a silly spell, or just having a quiet conversation with her new friends, Fern and Stark. She's finally learning how to live in the present. In the end, Frieren's long, beautiful, and kinda sad journey is just this powerful meditation on time, on memory, and on regret. It really makes you think. It's a reminder that connection isn't about how much time we have with people, but what we actually choose to do with it.